Off the Dice is a time-to-tabletop production.
Building community through the language of gaming. Off the Dice is back.
The questions are now ready, and our guests are restrained.
Pay no attention to the mumbling in the background.
That'll be fine.
So pull up a chair.
Yeah. Let's talk off the dice. Our faces are live, people.
Oh, shit.
How cool is this?
This is different.
Well, this is different, but it's
what
we're doing.
Yeah, yes.
It's what we're doing now, and
we're making bread with biscuits.
Mm-hmm. Seriously, man. Life gives you what? They hand you lemonades? No. They hand you lemons, and you make the best fucking cocktail you can find.
I was going to say, and then you grab some vodka.
I was like, you just go for it.
Yeah.
So here we are.
Hi.
We're doing Off the Dice live. While Michael over here, our guest, is retweeting, rebooking, Facebooking, refooking,
Refooking?
refooking.
I don't know if that's a proper thing to say.
It is.
It makes me worried. I'm
we
refooking.
We're making this happen today.
Yikes.
Well, welcome everyone. We are doing our podcast now over the intranets, so we can still have more entertainment, and it's mostly entertainment for ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, we like to listen to ourselves talk.
We like to talk about complete bullshit.
Yeah. Yes, we do, but we always try and get a guest on here that isn't complete bullshit. And
Exactly.
it
Yeah.
helps us.
Thank you.
It helps us feel, like we're doing something good or something. But it's a returning guest. Hello, Michael.
Hello.
Welcome, sir. I mean, I see you. Well, I haven't seen you for almost a month now, or a month and a half. But
Oh, in person.
in person,
Yeah.
Only in person.
yeah. And welcome. We're gonna fire off and do another episode of Off the Dice, and you're a returning guest, and there's a reason why he's
first returning guest.
Yes, you're very first.
Is that right? Really?
Yes,
Yeah.
very first returning guest.
Numero uno, man.
Whoa. The first. Do I get like some kind of special, like the two timers club or something?
No.
The Two Timers Club.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
a great word. That's a great phrase. I
think
can call myself.
Double the two timers.
That would mean if you were like cheating on us and going,
Yeah, that's
being
what
on another
two-timing
podcast at the same time as ours. You can't two-time us, Michael.
Mm-hmm.
No, you do whatever
You
want.
two timer, you.
Yeah. I think that's
Uh-huh.
the Two Timers Club. We might have to start this.
The two timers club.
I love it.
I'm
Right.
excited about that, actually. But we'll find out why we have asked you to come back yet again. But Rysa might have some questions for you. I know I have some myself. We really wanted to kind of wing it.
Yeah.
Okay.
For a reason, because I don't like things that are canned.
Yeah.
I really do.
Normally we have like a general idea, and then we just kind of like go. But
Yeah.
now we're just gonna go full crazy.
Yeah, because I know what I would like to know personally, and I feel like maybe some of the listeners out there, if they know anything about you or don't, that they might want to know these things. So
Well,
also,
sure.
there might be some random ones too. Just look out for those. But let's start off with something. Rysa, do you have anything you want to ask, or I can go into one?
Go for it, because
Okay.
mine will not be serious.
Okay, most of mine can be serious, depending on Michael.
Yeah.
He
Mine
doesn't
will
have
not
to
be-
make them serious.
It's all
Mine
in my
will
hands.
not be serious at all.
So realistically, this one's very simple. We're not going to do all the levels and those types of things. We really want to get to know you this time, since you're the two-timer, the founder, president of the Two-Timer Club.
Oh, what?
Well, you're the only member.
You're not just the president. You're not just the founder. You're the president founder.
Wow.
Founder.
Great two-timer, Michael Panush. Thanks.
Wow.
So
President timer.
Awesome. Thanks.
He's like, I don't know.
Wow.
I don't
I'm
know what to
so
say.
Excited.
Realistically, though, when I met you, it was more of on a gaming end. And
Yeah.
how many at this point? How many books have you actually published, dude?
Oh boy.
Because last
Well,
time we chatted, like
That's
last
my
time we talked
favorite
about this
number.
was like a dozen, and I think you've had a few since then, or maybe 2, and that wasn't that long.
2 sounds right. Maybe a little bit more if you want to include stories and anthologies. I've had, I think, 2 anthologies come out
Hot damn.
since we.
Okay.
Yeah, so I've had two full books, including the one that just appeared,
Mm-hmm.
I believe, month before last month,
Yep.
and then I had 2 short stories and 2 anthologies.
Right on.
Dang. Okay. So
It's more than
the
one
rest of
does.
her trying to do catch up when it comes to Michael, because I remember when we were on Saturday when we did the tribute stream, most of us sitting there like, yeah, I do this and we do all this, and Michael goes,
Michael comes in
I
hot.
published all these books and I'm a teacher. I was like, realistically, we look up to you in that aspect. I mean,
Whoa, well, thank you.
mean, not to even ask your age, but you've got a lot of years left in you.
That's
to,
what happens when you're the president founder.
Yes,
Yeah,
especially there's
us 2-timers. We
Yeah.
work fast, I guess.
We work very fast. We work 2 times
We
as
can
fast, one may say.
multitask.
Oh.
So it's very I'm not just inspired by you, but driven by you to do more things in that realm. So
Oh, well, thank you.
so the big I want to know, and I feel like other people might want to know, because we used to do a Storytellers Unite kind of stream. We did like 5 episodes with some people across the United States, and kind of a big question we had was like how somebody gets inspired to do that. Like, you could be an author, right? Which is great, but a lot of times if you're contracted or whatever, it's like, oh, you need to come up with an idea. Well, if you're self-published and you do it on the side and you do it for yourself, you have to feel inspired to do it. Otherwise, it's just not going to happen. So,
Right.
how does Michael get inspired to do that, though? How are you doing it?
Yeah. Well, I see that the motivation to get those ideas, like that's something that I think all authors struggle with,
Right.
who are doing it for freelance, or with that independently, I guess, which is what I'm doing. Mickey Spillane, I think, is this who's like, he wrote like those these hard-boiled 50s detective stories like I, the Jury, and so on. They don't hold up particularly well, but they do have a certain rough of the era kind of charm. He said, like, I didn't have any ideas, and then I needed to pay off a mortgage, and I got an idea.
I like that.
Yeah, so necessity is the mother of invention. And a lot of these stories, it's like, sometimes it is to fill a certain need. Like, I'm looking for a story that will be perfect for that publisher.
Mhm.
But a lot of it is just, I'll have ideas batting around in my head for cool scenarios or cool characters. And I just have to look for the right vehicle to put them in.
That makes sense.
But I would say, yeah, I mean, but I'm always thinking of like bigger concepts, ways to play around with things. And I do have a big like backlog, so
Yeah.
Backlog's important.
yes, inspiration and ideas not too difficult for me. Getting them on paper and getting them edited and published, that's the struggle.
Well, that goes back to, I mean, yeah, that's definitely a struggle, and I'd like to talk about that in a little bit too, because that kind of rolls into actually to the next actual serious question I have. Was when you, because I do a lot of world building when it comes to playing role-playing games.
Yeah.
And they start differently for different people. Mine's usually more universal. Like I want to create a universe first and then pick a person to start with in that universe. There's other people that do it different ways. So the question I have for you to see if you can help me out on how your process goes. No, I was watching a Canadian show today. Your process, how that goes today.
Sure.
What do you start? What do you do to start when you create the world? Like, where's your starting point in creating that universe? Because a lot of your stuff is not super high fantasy, let's say, but it is definitely fiction and fantasy and alternate universe type
Oh, definitely.
things,
It's like
type
alternate
stories.
history.
Yeah. And so where do you start when you're creating that world or universe?
Right. Well, I think the most at the most basic level, I'll start with the vibe of the story I'm going for. I want to do a story set in like this kind of time frame, in this setting, that would have like this sort of music going on in the background. What kind of mood do I want for it? And then I'll go to character.
I like that.
Yeah, the character, like who's the viewpoint? Who are we following? Whose story is this? I know multiple protagonists, multiple points of view. Like that's a popular thing. A lot of authors like doing that. Your George R.R. Martins and so on. And I've tried it. I mean, I just need more practice. Maybe someday I'll be able to pull it off, but it's all got to be like one character for me.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, that's super rad because I'm actually taking notes because when it comes to storytelling, I'm big on storytelling. So vibe, which I love that because I do know that with Generation Hero, Generation Shadow, I know behind the scenes you send out a lot of times you'll be sending out music a music video or a timepiece of some sort going in there to kind of set the premise. And then, because we use Magpie games, you come out with the factions because of that vibe and the music that's going on. And I noticed usually every week you send some sort of music or something to the players to go, this is what I'm feeling. So I get that. I appreciate that. So it's cool you said vibe because I feel what you're saying.
For role-playing games, for Generation Hero and Shadow, it's instead of I don't start with the character. I mean, the vibe is what I start with, of course. I'm always vibing. Oh boy, why'd I say that?
Always vibing.
Always vibing, yeah. But no, I'll start with like the music. I'll think about what kind of movies or TV shows are like in that era that are inspiring me.
Yeah.
And that I want to like pay homage to or have in my head. And then I'll do the conflict because characters, I don't need to make the main characters. Like those are the players.
Right. But in your books you'd pick like you think about the homage maybe to that era or to something on there and then find like zoom in into that one. It's very cinematic to me.
Yeah. And so for role-playing games it's always like what's the conflict, what's the tension that kind of echoes that vibe. Sometimes it's pretty easy, like we did the Belfast 1977, there was like the Troubles.
Yeah.
And it was like, I had a real historical...
Yeah, it's easy. That conflict was already there.
Conflict, yeah, and just kind of put some magic on it. Hopefully I did it in a respectful manner. I tried really hard and I struggled with that. But like that was clear. I know the two sides. I know this is going to be like... This game is about like... Or this arc is about trying to make peace.
Right. And
then all the missions, the episodes kind of flow from there.
That's super cool. I find a similar when I do storytelling for small groups or RPGs, I'm always thinking about what's going on in my actual realm. What is the ultimate huge conflict? And then I narrow down to usually one or two characters that how are they not influencing maybe this whole thing, but how do they fit in this huge overseeing conflict of what's going on? And then I kind of just build from there. And usually it's easier when you don't have to write it into a book, because you like let the players do it. And there you go. You just take notes from there forward, right? You're like, yes, that sounds great.
Oh, I guess we're doing this now.
Yeah, we're doing
Uh-huh.
yeah, and it was, but as long as the encompassing over there, and I think that would be the struggle for me because I'm a lazy writer, but to actually expand on that one character and how they affect and where they're at. So I think that's why there's a huge, deep appreciation for talents of your kind and of your caliber. So there's a couple people locally that I look up to for that, and that one is definitely you. So on that point, Rysa, do you have any questions? Because I have more. I wrote them with a pen this time. I didn't even print them out.
Wow. You're so fancy.
Old school.
Very tactile.
Yeah.
So, if you, not your favorite, but if your personality was an ice cream flavor, what ice cream flavor would it be? Don't answer with your favorite ice cream flavor. Like, as a being, what ice cream flavor are you?
This question, very tricky.
And sticky.
Yes. Yes.
It's ice cream.
Maybe I'd want to go with like a mint chocolate chip.
Oh.
Okay. Why?
No. I have a nice mild mint flavor to myself. But there's a little bit of bite in there too, in the form of those chocolate chips.
Little crunch, little grit
Oh,
to you.
yeah, there's a little crunch in there too. But I mean, even that crunch is tasty.
Every part's tasty. It's just a little weird.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. Okay. Yeah, there you go.
Okay, and I have one. I'm gonna go with. I'm letting that happen.
Hell
'Cause-
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, what ice cream flavor is you, or what kind of ice cream are you? Is hard to follow up on. So
It is like. I like the way you explained the mint chocolate chip, though.
Yeah, it really roll off the top.
Yes. So here's another one. Here's the next question. If you had the world's attention for 30 seconds, what would you say? The whole world's attention.
Go.
You've got it for 30 seconds.
Oh man.
Now I'm not going to time it, but it's just like
ultimate
because
elevator.
Ryza's like go. Yeah, to the world though. This is like the
Or you
whole
just start
planet.
talking about ice cream.
It's like I'm
Hey,
little
I'm a fan
crunchy.
of mint chip.
See, there you go.
I don't know. Like at the moment, I mean, part of me would be like, hey, if you like talking gorillas, buy my book. Just keep
Are you
it
a
short,
fan of
sweet.
talking gorillas?
Yeah, you like
I
talking
got
gorillas?
something for you.
It's
Buy
like,
my book.
Daddy's got bills to pay.
Yeah.
Keep it short, sweet, and mercenary. But I mean, at the time, I think the world needs to hear some harsh truths, given the situation we're all in right now.
And I think that's why I was like, you could go either way with that 30 seconds, right? You could be like, listen, or you could be like, we're all good, or it's like, you know what? Give me some money. I need to pay my bills. Or, I mean, you could go in a lot of different directions now. But, okay, so if you like gorillas, that's what you said, right?
Talking gorillas.
Talking gorillas.
yeah,
But I thought this was an
basically.
ape.
Gorilla's a type of ape.
So it's an under... Okay.
Yeah,
I
I'm
will-
not sure. I mean, I don't want to like be the
Because I don't know.
what's the word? The actually guy. You know, I
I-
don't want
I-
to like.
Yeah, you wouldn't have to be
No
that with
gorilla,
me.
please.
Because I'd believe you. I'd be like, oh. Because...
Yeah,
Really?
because there are people. I mean, and they're good and we love them who are like into animals and zoology. Like that's their job or a study.
But we're over here like,
Yeah, like gorillas. Are they monkeys? No, don't make that.
Don't
mistake.
start
It's like,
that
ooh,
debate.
Don't start that.
that's a big
No.
ooh,
Yeah, and like I know if I get stuff wrong about animals in these books, like I'm gonna get called out on it.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes I'm okay with that.
But then you just be
No.
like, it's fantasy. It's not.
Yeah, I can always.
real gorillas.
I mean, I can always throw that down, and like that is, it works. You might sometimes that comes across as a cop out. But like that's an okay excuse. But still, I do have to have that like overall I have at least a little bit better than a layman's knowledge of these kinds of things, of zoology, when I can throw them in the book.
Yeah, also, it's like if you're concentrating on that part of the book, you're kind of missing the point of the book.
Oh yeah, that's true.
You know,
it stars like the talking gorilla's the hook. That's supposed to make you.
Hook ya.
Yeah, that's the cover. That's supposed to make you open up the book. But there's a lot more to it than that.
Yeah, I mean, if it's not
There's
literally
more
just
than
like,
meets the gorilla
look,
eye.
that gorilla's talking.
Yeah,
there's more to the book than that. So
absolutely.
That's what I was like. I think that's if you're getting hung up on that, and I think that we, as role players and stuff like that, we have that happen a lot. Like a lot of people discussing like, well, an elf would never really do that. Well, a wood elf would, and then they start talking about no, and then it's like it's fantasy, it's made up. So whatever's working in your mind works for this story. So let's have that work in here. And I feel like it's kind of like yes and or it turns out that using those to say instead of saying no, that's not how it works. That just doesn't turn into a good story or a good time at all.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
If you're like rules lawyering in a role playing game, like nobody's gonna want to.
No one wants that.
Yeah, to deal with that.
Yeah, and
that's not why you're there.
No, and then when you want to read a good book, it's like either you want to. I'm one of those people that's like when I'm watching a movie or reading a book or any sort of entertainment or consuming anything. If it doesn't make me feel an emotion, I'm kind of done. I'm kind of like,
right.
But if
fair.
it pisses me off, it did a good job.
Yeah, you're feeling.
Yeah, I was like, if I got frustrated, if I got sad, if I got happy or whatever, it did its job. And I was like, I'm entertained. That's kind of the whole point. So I don't usually get stuck on, well, that doesn't make too much sense, but let's go through it, and then we go forward. Rysa, you got anything? Got any more questions? Let's go for it.
SpaghettiOs versus ravioli. Who would win?
I'm not really a fan of either. No, that's not true. Actually, I do like raviolis.
Well, that's just like, hold on.
All right, so raviolis.
Over what was it? What was the choice?
SpaghettiOs.
SpaghettiOs.
Yeah,
what's the difference?
One's a ravioli. The Chef Boyardee raviolis.
I know, but in a can, are they?
Yeah.
They kind of they don't
They're
taste
just
similar.
The SpaghettiOs is like a broken Chef Boyardee ravioli. It's like someone just like cut that shit up and threw it in the can.
They said, "Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs."
Exactly. That's exactly what happened.
I think I just had a lot more SpaghettiOs growing up than.
Yeah, no, I never really messed around with Mr. Boyardee's
I don't fuck with Boyardee.
fine products. Yeah,
It's all. I mean, it's what we had. And I was like, it's either that or Tastios, which was Cheerios, the IGA version of Cheerios.
Oh man,
That's what And what was it? We didn't have cream of wheat. We had cream of the West.
Oh.
cream of the West.
Cream of the West, Tastios, and SpaghettiOs.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's the title of something right there. Cream of the West.
Cream
like
of the West. It's
Yes.
like a weird Western. Like a Western where you definitely are questioning it.
Yeah,
Like,
definitely a two-timer.
okay, so Chef Boyardee raviolis over the SpaghettiOs.
I have to.
All right.
It's just what I go with.
Yeah,
Okay.
I just have to.
Well, let's reel it back in just for a second. When you talk about publishing, because you were talking about sometimes you have to write something according to what your publisher is looking for, which, of course, I mean, in game design or anything like that, unless you write a game that you're going to self-publish, you find the right publisher that will publish the game. Some games are resource management, some are more strategy, some are really world building and cards and stuff like that. So if you have a publisher that's specific on those, you want to write a game that they'll publish. Same concept there, but what do you find the hardest part for you and the process of getting published?
I mean, I would say, like, I can't say that it's like getting my foot in the door, because I was very fortunate to get, when I was younger, I would just post my stories like on the internet on fictionpress.com just for free.
Ooh.
Yeah, and then a newly created publisher, I guess, looking to swell their library, found it and just like bought them right there. So I was like, I didn't submit anything. I was discovered and published through that.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very lucky that it went that route for me. And then after that, like, my current publisher, or the one who published the book before Ape's Honor, he read some of my stories and he liked them. And he was like, "Would you like to make some stuff for us?" And that's how I got both The Daggermen, my previous novel, and that was through Airship 27. And he published that one, and that's also where I get where these the 2 short stories that came out like over the last couple of years. Those appeared in Airship 27 anthologies. I've been writing a bunch of more shorts for those as well, so I have like 3 that are coming out in the foreseeable future. And big fan of Airship 27. They do great work, and they've just tremendous job like packaging. They got pictures in the book. But then like for Ape's Honor, I created it. Kind of wasn't sure what I was going to do with it. You know, I had the idea, and so I wrote the first novel, and then I'm like, after I write the first one, I get ideas for 3 more. So I was already on like book 3 when I got the first one ready enough to submit, and it was too big.
Oh.
Yeah, it was
That's
too
so
big
fun.
for Airship 27. He was like, "Well, we could put it into 3 books and then publish those." And I'm like, "No, it wouldn't work, because it's a mystery. So you can't have like part 1 of the mystery. You can't divvy it up into the 3 episodes like Star Wars, as much as I wish you could. When you want the mystery, like you want that mystery solved in the story.
Yeah.
You can't have Murder of the Orient Express Part 1. But he recommended me to one of his friends, who was the publisher for Prose Press, and they're the ones who put out Ape's Honor. And they're very enthusiastic about it. They did a great job putting it together. Got like excellent cover illustration, good editing, and I'm very proud of the product there. And they've also agreed to do the sequels as well. So
cool.
Oh, awesome.
Oh, that's
Yes.
very cool. And when you get because that's a big deal. Is like getting published and then them liking what they published. Because I mean, you can publish something. They're like, yeah, that was nice. Have fun.
Cool.
Have fun storming the castle and writing more books. But when you come to getting it ready for publishing, you also have use an editor also, correct?
Yes.
Now, is that something your publisher usually supplies for you, or is that something you're like, no, I have my own guy or gal?
I mean, a little bit of both. They gave me an editor who was pretty good, but also a lot of it was I both edit it myself, which is, it is what it is. Like you'll do okay, but there is stuff you're gonna miss for sure.
Right.
You need someone else's eyes.
Yeah, I agree with that big time. I was like, I think, because we published a book, an RPG system last year, and had like a dozen people go through it, right? And we still, when we published, still found a couple, like 2 mistakes. It was like, I mean, you're like, so.
And I guarantee there's probably typos and apes on.
Yeah,
it
and it's like, oh well, it was like
they're gonna creep through. I think all authors have to deal with it.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of the way that works. But yeah, do you find yourself like when it comes to when you work with a publisher more frequently or more consistently? Do you find your writing style changing a little bit, or maybe you start writing more because that publisher likes to publish that type of story? Do you ever find yourself doing that?
Well, I do like now when I write things, I am working on something for Airship 27, and because like they only want books of a certain length, I'm setting out to tell a single story that fits that length.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. But just length only, not different types, not different
content.
Yeah, like
concept genres.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
do they like certain genres, or are they just they like your genres?
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned
that's a weird thing to say. I like your genres.
Well, it's a thing though. I was like, really? I was like, if
your publisher doesn't like your genre, they're probably not going to publish you.
I know.
Right?
But just how you said it is like they like your genre. I was like, oh, wow.
Yes, they do. So
for this one, like, I mean, I sent the editor of Airship 27 the premise, and like they were into it. So I was like, so I know it's going to be a good fit. It's a concept they're interested in, and I got to make sure the length is right.
found out that was their deciding factor. Was like, man, you write some long shit.
Uh-huh.
It's like, shorten that down.
Crazy. Yeah.
And there are like other projects that I do that are like just for me.
Just for you.
Yeah.
Just for
this
me.
one's just for me. Where like I think some point in the future I will find a publisher that could take it. But it is like, this is a story I have in my mind that I want to create, and I'm not going to put other people's like I'm not going to like bow to other pressures.
Mm-hmm.
But I can do both. It's like I'll work on a chapter for one that I know I'm going to submit to this publisher, another chapter for the book that like maybe it can go to a whole different publisher. Maybe Airship 27 or another publisher will take it. Maybe it will just like sit on my hard drive forever and gather dust. Like there's tons of my stories that have done that, and that's okay. Like it's a process. It's
all a process.
It's practice.
Yeah.
Well, how often? When you talk about that, is because you're talking about you had 3 of them done and then you decided to do another one. That's got to happen often, correct? I mean.
Oh yeah,
and I think there's when it comes to writers, because we work decently close with comic book publishers, with game designers, comic book artists, comic book writers specifically. They only do writing, and if you don't have at least like half a dozen projects working at the same time, you're going to lose out. And it's not because of being scatterbrained, but it's more of other stories that you're writing. Do you ever find yourself that other stories you're writing help, all of a sudden you write something in that story and that helps you finish something else because something sparks over here? Do you feel that? Do you ever have that occur?
Yeah, I mean that's sometimes like inspiration will occur while I'm in the middle of another story. What I like doing though, what I really fear is like getting bored. And if making it become a slog. If it feels like a slog, if I'm not having fun, it's not worth doing.
Yeah.
So I always try and have like 3 projects going at a time, and I'll hop between them. I'll do a chapter in one.
That way it keeps your drive going.
Yes,
right?
chapter in another.
Because if you keep doing the same thing repetitively, I know I would be like,
well, it's a factory job at that point.
Yeah.
Your creativity becomes mundane.
yeah.
And that's the last thing that you want there.
Yeah, and that creates those gaps. So it's like, I finish a chapter, and then by the time it's done, I'm like, oh, all right, well, that's enough of that project. I'll move on to, and then 2 weeks or so, or like half a month later, I'll come back to it, and I'll be like, ooh, I'm all excited, already started again.
Ooh, I wrote that.
I haven't seen you in forever.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I can see that. I feel that sometimes.
Absolutely. That's like whenever you save a video game and you come back a year or like a month later, and you're like, ooh, I don't know what I was doing.
I have to memorize the controls again.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you forget all this. Love doing
It's like,
that.
what? Why do I keep aiming at the ground?
Yeah.
So, okay, we'll move on to, do you have another question, Rysa? Because I'm ready. If you don't have one.
No, you do your thing, man.
Okay, well, my question here is,
you're going crazy hot.
in the situation that we're all in right now, since we're live, we all know, Michael, what's in your fridge right now?
Oh, that's a good one.
Whoa. Do I really want to share? No, my cooking skills are strictly amateur.
Amateur hour over here.
Uh-huh. I mean, I'm trying to do better. And this has, like, necessity is the mother of invention, so I've been forced. It's forced me to get better at cooking and so on.
Good. That's a good thing.
So what do you got in the fridge? I think you're evading the question.
Yes. Okay. Well, I'm very much like, you ever heard the concept of, like, boy meals, they've been called?
Yeah.
Or, I don't know, where it's just like whatever you happen to have in the fridge and you, like, throw it together and, like, that's the meal.
Yeah.
I sort of operate on that.
Wrap a
policy.
piece of meat and some cheese.
Yeah, where it's like I'll have something and I'll be like, it's like I got some eggs.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want to make, and then I had some hamburger buns.
Oh.
So I was like, I guess I can make like an egg sandwich. But then I'm like, I should probably what if I got bacon for that? So then I bought bacon, and then pretty soon the eggs and the hamburger buns are going to be gone. I'm just going to have bacon. And then we have to find something else to put on that. So
with the bacon. It's never
yeah,
ending
like
battle.
what will go with the bacon? I don't know. Maybe I get like tomatoes, get like a BLT kind of thing.
Then you have to
So
get
I'll buy
lettuce.
those. Yes,
Yeah.
but then pretty soon the bacon's gone. I just have the tomatoes. I'll have to find something else. Like it's
Damn.
That happens so
really like
often.
that.
Like we have a real issue in our own household of cereal and milk. Like if we just have milk in the house and no cereal, that milk's gonna go bad. If we just have cereal, that cereal's just gonna sit there forever.
I know you got to have the both.
But if you have both of them, we're like, it's gone in 3 days. Like,
Yeah.
and then we're out of both. And we're like, well, geez, if we can, But the one thing about bacon, though, Michael, I don't think there's much you can't put with bacon.
That is true.
You can just eat the bacon.
Well, we've done that.
Yeah, you're just like, well.
Have you ever had a
I'll just
late
eat
night
bacon.
snack and just made bacon?
Your late night snack is bacon.
I've
I mean,
definitely
that's got
done
its charms, to be
that.
sure.
No, I've done that probably within the last 6 months. I've done that. So, no, that's just who I
Wake
am.
up at 2 a.m. and you're like, I think it's time for bacon.
No, seriously, like we'll sit here and it's like, do you want to make cookies or bacon? That's yeah.
Well,
Tough choice.
I'm trying to do better, but I think I'm being punished for my hubris. So we'll see. Maybe
Okay.
I'll learn some new things when this coronavirus self quarantine business is done. Maybe I'll learn some new stuff. So let's hope.
Well, I mean, I don't know if that's a segue into the next question because I don't know, but it seems like it might be. But the next question. Explain to us something that you are freakishly bad at. Like, not just cooking, you can at least survive, but like freakishly bad at. And you're never, like, you're not even going to correct it. If you're freakishly bad at something, you kind of just accept it and move on with life. But if you ever did it, wow.
Yeah, I mean, math. Math in general.
Just
Like
math
that.
in general.
Boom, math.
Yeah. Which is, I mean, you might think that's bad because I'm a teacher and I teach math in some ways. But luckily, I would say math of a high school level, which is not what I
Okay.
teach. I'm actually pretty good at your elementary school math.
It's like, check out this 1 + 5 shit.
Oh, I know it. I can do long division with the best of them.
Yeah.
Carrying everything.
Yeah, and I mean, and like because I teach, and math is the thing that I end up teaching a lot. It's like I've had to get better at it.
Damn.
Yeah, out of necessity, right? I was like,
Yeah.
oh, we gotta do something, and oh man, I don't think I could. I enjoy math. Math to me is a language to me. I always treated math like a language.
It's the same language no matter where you are.
Yeah, so I mean, it's our to me, it's our only global language is mathematics.
I mean, fun though. Can't say it's fun.
But
Not to me, at least.
You gotta wonder what Randy's doing with those 90 candy bars in these questions. It's like,
Oh, those word problems.
yeah, it's like, oh, he's ate 90 candy bars. What does he have left? Well, diabetes. Like,
Jesus.
it's like, maybe.
No, dealing with word problems. I hated them when I was a student. Now, I mean, I know how to deal with them, but I'll never be a fan.
Just why he eating all those candy bars?
It's like, seriously, where is he getting these candy bars?
Yeah,
Who
it's
got
like-
did he steal money out of his mom's purse? How in the world?
These are mysteries we will never solve.
Yeah.
And who buys 17 oranges? Like, nobody ever buys 17 oranges.
It's like
That's
some
a lot of
crazy
oranges.
person who would buy 9 limes.
I was like, what has he
By
got
10.
scurvy?
You
Why
are
does he
looking
need
for
all these
sense in a
oranges?
world ruled by chaos.
Nah. Oh my god.
Oh, okay. Another question for you. I have one. I always have one ready to go in the chamber. If you could only say one word for the whole day, that was your language. Like I am Groot kind of thing. If you could only have one word, what would it be for the whole day? That's how you had to communicate. Go to work, you have to teach kids, all that stuff, but you can only use one word the whole day.
I hate to correct you, but I am Groot is 3 words.
Yeah, I was about to say.
I said like I am Groot.
Okay.
Right. I don't know. I mean,
that guy.
He's that guy today. Groot
mean,
is
I
not
would
real,
say-
Michael.
Oh my god.
a simple please, I think, would do wonders. You could probably get by a whole day just like gestures and please.
Please.
This one, okay. I think I would choose shit. Because no matter, like, however you, like, word it, you could just be like, shit. Or you're like, shit.
I think
I feel like
in where you work and
Oh,
the
I
people
wouldn't
around,
be able to do
I
that.
think you could be able to do that.
Well, maybe.
Yeah, I think you could. I think please is a really good one too. I just
Please
think
is a really good one. As soon as you asked that question, though, I was like, oh, I choose shit.
mine was dude. Mine was
Oh,
dude
that is a
because
good one.
I'm,
Dude is good.
I'm an
That's-
80s guy, right? So
Dude.
I knew how to use dude in all inflections. Because otherwise it'd be the F word. You'd be like, fuck. It's like, well, that's not
Yeah.
going to translate well when I'm trying to
you could get
homeschool
by
my
on
kids.
dude.
Yeah.
Dude, you could definitely get by on, right?
Yeah, I think dude, but
Oh,
please
that's
is good
good.
and shit. I mean, in your
I think
context,
shit-
I think it would work. Okay. It was just one of
Love
those questions. It's like just for one day, and then you're back to normal the next.
Okay, I have a
on.
random question.
Yeah, do
Ready?
it.
All right. So if you had to either just have one song, or you can only listen like one song, or the rest of your life, every day is kind of like a musical, which one would you choose?
Ooh.
I'd probably want to go with the musical.
So you'd want to like wake up like beautiful, like oh, there's birds singing, like dancing.
Yeah, in a musical, everyone seems to be having a good time.
But like every day.
I mean, unless it's like one of those dark musicals.
But I was like, a musical could be, that could
Yeah.
be.
Yeah,
Still
I mean,
be
there's plenty of those. But
Alright.
in the moment, hey, at least they're even the musical when they're like killing each other, like your West Side Stories or whatever.
it's
So
still.
low
they're-
upbeat.
Yeah, they're still upbeat. Like they're getting plenty of exercise,
Okay.
toe tapping around.
There's plenty of exercise. I like how
Yeah.
that's the thing. Oh, there's
Yeah.
plenty of exercise. We're fine.
What's not to
Killing
like?
killing is good cardio.
Yeah.
Just let's go with that.
Put that on a shirt. Kill
I've
it.
always thought being in a
I like
musical,
that.
like life being a musical, would be amazing because I always feel like music drives me as a human being. So I always feel like certain moods or certain days when I walk into a room or leave a room, I feel like there's a theme song playing in my head, anyways.
Oh yeah.
Right. So I feel like if I was actually living that.
But if you had like a few people always around you, consistently always singing and always being like, I feel like I would be like, it's not right now.
Killing
the
is
musical-
good cardio.
Yeah. It's like, okay, I guess ugh.
Mhm. I think you'd get used to it.
Oh my gosh.
I think we all have those
Probably.
things that we get. Yeah. We always get used to the
Yeah.
sounds in our house and stuff like that. So,
It's a great concept.
all right. Do you have any other questions for Rysa? Do you have any more randos?
Dude, rock it out, man.
Okay. Well, then let's laser focus this.
Yeah.
Why are we here? We've been talking for like 40 minutes or so, and I'm gonna put this image up here. I'm gonna start putting this stuff up
Do
here.
it.
Whoa. I'm excited.
I know you're not gonna see it though, unless you're watching the
Oh.
stream. Oh, boom!
I have it on my phone.
So right next to your head there, Michael, is the cover of Victoria's Ape.
Wow, that
so-
looks pretty cool.
So this is where, and then I'm gonna put something to the stage right of your head, of where you can go to michaelpanush.com to get this piece of amazing work. So
That's the place.
let's focus in on this because I want to hear a lot from you. I don't have I mean, realistically, I've been I think working with you for a couple of years now, and your storytelling always like pulls me in.
Oh, thank you.
But
oh my gosh.
let's go
What's
to
happening here?
like, can you give us like a decent synopsis of the book without giving away too much of its flavor?
Sure. So, Victoria's Ape follows Lord Cooper Grey, who is a gorilla nobleman. Gorilla with a noble title, as he's solving a series of brutal murders in a alternative Victorian London full of talking animals. It's like an alternate history where there is a technology that exists called dynamic Darwinism that can give intelligence and the power of speech to all sorts of animals who are now uneasily living alongside humans.
Wow. So there's because I talked to you I think last week, and I've only gotten through personally because I have ADHD really bad, and especially right now with homeschooling and all that stuff, I read the first 2 chapters. So
Well, I mean, you're making progress.
no, I have the book,
Yeah.
and I'm not
There's-
a book reader. But realistically, I am one of the worst. But I honestly am reading this book. I got it on what is the Amazon one, on the Kindle and the Audible.
Kindle Unlimited, yeah.
Yeah, I got that through
Totally
there.
available through there.
Yeah, so I got it through there.
Heck yeah, man.
So this could, I mean, without giving too much away, the kind of depth and how do I want to put it? The mirroring or reflection of society as it was in that era, or are we doing, or is it just based on that era, or maybe something you can transcend into something that's going on here in 2020? I mean,
Right.
I mean, realistically.
Yeah, I mean, no, you can't write about the past without having the attitudes and ideas of the present filtering in.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, all historical books are a reflection about when they were written as much as like what the era they're set in. So I can't like I couldn't like lie and say that Ape's Honor is any different. Which is, and it's like, it's not too hard to do that because the Victorian era is such a template, like such an almost perfect predecessor of like our own time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you had humongous wealth inequality. You have the same sort of what's the word? You know, like Victorian morality, which would often be kind of filled with like a sense of piety that nonetheless masked like the aforementioned humongous inequality and a really like brutal treatment of the poor.
Mm-hmm.
You have an empire The British Empire back then, which I mean, I probably don't need to say the kind of empire now that is sort of like creaking under its own weight and is starting to fall apart and is dealing with lots of pointless, bloody conflicts all over the map.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. You have like the press and popular culture, which is like rising up. That really started to become a thing in the Victorian era. And that's why, like, I mean, this is a minor spoiler, but like it's on the back cover, so not really.
Oh, it's not that much of a spoiler. We're good.
Yeah, and I already mentioned it. It's those the murders that Cooper is investigating. They're like the Wraith murders, or what they're called in the book. They're a pretty clear analogy to Jack the Ripper.
Right.
Yeah,
I felt a little bit of that. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, you only had to read like From Hell, which was a big. That was one of the inspirations that was floating around. The Alan Moore graphic novel, where he kind of, I think in the notes he kind of says the same thing about the Victorian era being like the predecessor for our own. Like this is when modernity really started. But Jack the Ripper, like, he became famous because the press had exploded at that time. There were so many newspapers available, and then here was this sensational story. Even with like Jack the Ripper writing to the newspapers and having his letters appear in them, which is such a crazy serial killer trope that you always see in movies, but Jack the Ripper actually did it.
Yep.
And that crime like still fascinates people. It fascinates me.
People are super fascinated by crime just in general, though.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But but you still have like, there's like Ripperologists who are still out there trying to solve it.
Really?
I know, it's a whole thing.
Whoa.
I think they're up there with the people who try to, or like Shakespeare truthers.
That's a little bit much for me.
Yeah, who think Shakespeare didn't write his plays. They're like a weird kind of subculture of history fans. It's like, you're never gonna prove Shakespeare didn't write those plays, and you're never gonna solve the Jack the Ripper murders. Too much time has passed.
Yeah,
they couldn't even do it back then. It's not gonna happen. But...
And in my personal opinion, it's like, I feel like if you're again kind of going back to where nitpicking ape and gorilla. That's the same concept as like when you're diving into that and trying to disprove William Shakespeare and trying to solve Jack the Ripper. It's like, I think you're missing the point. You're missing the point of what that did on society and what that did in those times. I think you're focusing to me on the wrong thing.
That's why From Hell is so great, because he picks I mean, spoiler alerts for From Hell, I guess. But in that one, Alan Moore has Jack the Ripper is like Queen Victoria's surgeon, and he's out there murdering these poor these prostitutes who are trying to blackmail. I think it's been a while since I've read it, but I think like one of her children.
Wow.
I mean, that didn't happen, probably. Jack the Ripper probably wasn't Queen Victoria's surgeon, but the novel, or the graphic novel, does this great job of showing the super rich royal surgeon, his mansion, his servants, his coach, and then the miserable lives of these Whitechapel prostitutes. And talking about the class difference that goes on before all the stabbing even starts.
Before the stabbing starts. Pre-stab story.
Yeah, that's a crime enough, and From Hell is good enough to do that. And I try and do something kind of similar. Like, I'm trying to use the murders as a way to comment about the inequality and the cruelty of Victorian London.
Yeah, it's like a byproduct.
Just tying it in,
of it. It's like the killing stems from most of the real crimes that are actually going on.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So awesome, dude. I've got to keep doing more reading on there as I try and focus, because
Well, I got to say, like, I write big chapters, so 2 chapters
How long is like one chapter?
I'm not sure. I'll say this: there's like 10 chapters.
Okay.
So you're already like
oh yeah,
a
okay.
decent chunk into the book.
Yeah, because and on mine it doesn't go by pages because it just keeps
Oh,
scrolling.
yeah.
So I was like, I don't know how
right.
many pages it is. It just keeps going, and it's on my phone. So I'm just like, but check it out.
It's a decent-sized book, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. If you're watching or you're listening, or if you're only listening, that'd be weird. But
Awkward.
wherever you're watching, it should be on to stage right, which is the left side of your screen. You'll see the website there, michaelpanush.com, and you'll see, if you just go to michaelpanush.com, you will see all of the stuff that he has available. And the cool thing is, right, if you just scroll just a little bit, you'll see basically all of the books that are available. Victoria's Ape is the very first featured book. Takes you right to the Amazon page and link for $14.99. So if you want to buy the hardcover, and I'm just checking mine like right now, it's the 17th. That's really good right now when it comes to Amazon, because shipments are taking longer than normal.
Mm-hmm.
It's 7 days. You can get this by next Friday. You can get the paperback version, or right now you can get the Kindle version for like $3.99. So
Yeah.
put that into. I mean, we know that you want to know about crime and all the things that are going on in the world out there, guys. So, and this dude right here has got an amazing imaginative mind when it comes to alternate histories. We've been experiencing those stories for a couple of years now. Me personally, I mean, other people probably have from you before, but I've been experiencing it like in my own house for the last 2 years. And the depictions that you put through and the stuff that you put out there is just so phenomenal and so creatively put out there. It's not, I want to say well thought out, but I know how creative you are, and it doesn't have to be well thought out to be super creative for you. You're just like, no, this just really makes sense. And, and I feel that's very heartfelt and very passionate for me. So to see that happen. So check it out, guys. Whoever's out there watching, you'll watch this on VOD. It's on all the platforms. If you're watching it wherever it is, it'll stay there. It'll be there forever. But yeah. Yeah, $3.99 on Kindle. Yeah. Our funky mugs, our isolated mugs will be on here. I haven't, trimmed my hair for a while.
I don't think anybody really has. You're fine.
Why? Why should we? But no, seriously, go check it out. The paperback's $14.99 right now. You can get it within a week on Amazon, which the last order I put through Amazon took a month.
Really?
Yeah,
the last one I put through took like 3 days.
It's not essential, so if it's not food or something like that. But this is only 7 days, so
I would say my Talking Monkey book definitely not essential.
But it is.
Know.
I mean, realistically, if we want to actually
Talking Monkey's very essential.
if we want to fix the situation, it's pretty essential. But the Kindle, so it's down whatever your download speed is. So if you're watching this, you'll get it within seconds because you're watching this.
Yeah, I do hope if you're you check it out, give it a read. Definitely had a lot of fun writing it. I mean, I know I talk about like it's got that serious side, but it's also there's like street urchin, monkey pickpockets, and like a Komodo dragon assassin.
Honestly, I talk about those things every day.
Yeah, so if you want crazy, wacky animal action, this book has that too.
Yeah, there you go.
But and do know that a lot of people look at reviews, right? Stuff like that. It has 3 ratings right now. You are sitting at a solid 5-star rating on Amazon. So you'll probably stay up there, and you might get a 4. Another rating here soon. Your 4th.
Oh, well, I do
rating,
appreciate that. Those ratings are very important.
Yeah, once I finish it, really are. They are extremely important. So when it comes to any author or any creator out there, it's like if you can't buy it or you do buy it, tell somebody else. That's
word
the
of mouth
most important
is
thing.
huge.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
So thank you so much for hanging out with us, man. This was amazing. Rysa, do you have any other questions or anything you want to know from Michael?
Not right now. Well, what's one of your favorite animals to write about? Since
All right.
we're on
Yeah, I mean, that's very fitting. Yeah. I mean, this is the obvious one, but I got to go with the gorilla.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I mean, that's why, like, yep.
Yeah.
That's why Lord Cooper Gray is a gorilla, not a chimp or
like a kangaroo or something like that.
I mean, I have a armored dual revolver wielding Ned Kelly inspired kangaroo assassin show up in this book.
But not nearly as cool as gorillas.
Not as cool as gorillas. I'm sorry, kangaroos.
That's fair.
I don't know. I might be sent on us.
Yeah, and I'll tell you why. It's because, I mean, they always fascinated me because they're so human, but they're not human. So there's that thing. But there's but chimps, chimps are vicious.
Yeah.
Chimps have that cruelty about them.
They're like velociraptors, but not.
But hairier.
Yeah.
Right. And I mean, that might not be entirely fair. Like, just dismiss a whole species like that, but they've got that reputation. But gorillas are, the gentle giant, so to speak. So they have the strength, but they're peaceful. Again, this is their reputation. I'm sure a scientist might disagree with me.
It's their trope.
You're like, wait a
now.
minute.
That's right.
Yeah.
Actually, when I got to see one up close. My cousin worked in the San Diego wild animal park.
Yeah.
And I got to go like way behind the scenes and go right up to a gorilla, just hanging out, just holding the bars, and yeah, that humanness of it, because I was like, it's just like a guy.
But
you take a step back and
has
realize,
a lot of hair.
Yeah, wait a minute, it is not a human.
Yeah. Dude, that's awesome.
So that's I think is why I got to go with gorilla.
That's awesome. Thanks, man.
Thank you so
Seriously,
much.
thanks for hanging out with us on a Friday night here. And yeah, man, I can't wait to hear more stories and more stuff to come out. But in the interim, make sure and check this out, everybody out there. Check this out for sure.
All right. And we got Generation Shadow every Tuesday.
Yep.
So
you get to see
the finale. We're coming to the end of it.
You get to see this creative mind in action every Tuesday right here. Wherever you're watching it, it'll be on Tuesday. You get to see him from the hip, shoot from the hip with some of this stuff. So thanks again. We're going to sign off for the night. And what do we always say? Oh, yeah. But until then, you can pull up a chair and make time to
tabletop.
Yes, we say it all the time. But right now, it's like, hey, be good to each other. Remember your neighbors.
Check on your people.
Yeah, check on your friends, your neighbors, your loved ones, or even somebody that you don't love or like. They could use it too.
Just be nice. Don't be a dick.
We all could use that, I think.
Yeah.
So stay safe out there. Thanks again, everyone.
And then until next time.
Yes.
Until next time.
Bye.
Off the Dice is a Time to Tabletop production.
Building community through the language of gaming.
Hi, I'm Patrick.
And I'm not.
I like axes. And I'm Zarius.
And we are Rad Theater, a D&D live play podcast. And by the way, theater is spelled the correct way. Threatre.
BICTH.
Theatre. And don't forget to hashtag tell your friends.